Namaskar. So we'll start from where we left. But now, some way or other, let me save the life of Devki. There is no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body. Just as there is no certainty how a blazing fire comes in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest when there is a forest fire. It is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes leaps over one tree and catches another by the influence of the wind. Similarly, a living entity may be very careful in the matter of executing his duties, but it is very difficult for him to know what type of body he is going to get in the next life. Maharaj Bharat was very faithfully executing the duties of self-realization, but by chance he developed temporary affection for a deer. And in his next life, he had to accept the body of a deer. Vasudev, after deliberating on how to save his wife, began to speak to Kans with great respect. Although Kans was the most sinful man, sometimes it happens that a most virtuous person like Vasudev has to flatter a person like Kams, a most vicious person. That is the way of all diplomatic transactions. Although Vasudev was deeply aggrieved, he smiled outwardly. He addressed the shameless Kans in that way because he was so atrocious. Vasudev said to Kans, "My dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are waiting some danger because you have heard a prophetic voice in the sky. But the danger is to come from the sons of your sister, who are not present now. And who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all this, you are safe for the present. Nor is there cause of fear from your sister. Is there are any sons born of her? I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action." Kans knew the value of Vasudev's word of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. For the time being, he desisted from the heinous killing of his sister. Thus Vasudev was pleased and praised the decision of Kans. In this way he returned to his home. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devki gave birth to a child. Thus she gave birth to 8 male children, as well as 1 daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudev kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kans. It is said that Vasudev was very much elevated and famous for his word of honor, and he wanted to maintain this fame, although it was very painful for Vasudev to hand over the newly born child. Kans was very glad to receive him, but he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudev. This event is very exemplary. For a great soul like Vasudev, there is nothing considered to be painful in the course of discharging one's duty. A learned person like Vasudev carries out his duties without hesitation. On the other hand, a demon like Kans never hesitates in committing any abominable action. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kans can act in any sinful way, and devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kans became satisfied by the action of Vasudev. He was surprised to see Vasudev keeping his promise and being compassionate upon him and pleased. He began to speak as follows: "My dear Vasudev, You need not present this child to me. I am not in danger from this child. I have heard that the eighth child born of you and Devki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. When Vasudev was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kans, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kans was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanakya Pandit said, "Never put your trust in a diplomat or a woman." Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith. At that time, the great sage Narad came to Kans. He was informed of Kans becoming compassionate to Vasudev and returning his firstborn child. Narad was very eager to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kans that in Vrindavan, personalities like Nand Maharaj and all other cowherd men and their wives, and on the other side Vasudev, his father Sursen, and all his relatives born in the family of Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, along with all their friends and well-wishers, were actually demigods. Narad warned Kans to be careful of them, since Kans and his friends and advisors were all demons. Demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narad about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kans at once became very much alarmed. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudev and Devki and put them behind prison bars. Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudev and Devki gave birth to a male child year after year. And Kans, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the eighth child, but after the visit of Narad, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth from Devki and Vasudev. This action of Kans is not very difficult to understand. In the history of the world, there are many instances of persons in the royal order who have killed their father, brother, or whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for members of the demonic, greedy royal order can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions. Kans was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narad. He learned that in his previous birth he had been a demon named Kalnemi, and that he had been killed by Vishnu. Having now taken his birth in the Bhoj family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kans was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna, just as he had been killed in his last birth. He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasen because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoj and Andak dynasties, and he also occupied the kingdom of Sursen, Vasudev's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. So thus, this ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the first chapter of Krishna, the advent of Lord Krishna.